All right, what's up? What's up? What's up? Back to Poet Up Radio. Welcome back. Um, it is episode 6. Today I only have Jay on here. Our other brothers were busy, but that's okay. And actually, I have an announcement. This is going to be the last episode of this season for this season. So that we're gonna be wrapping up season 1. Then we're gonna take a little break, do some revamping, and come back to y'all with some new content for season 2. So this will be the last one for probably about a month or so. But that's okay. So y'all just bear with us, and we'll get back to you. But we'll still be able to do the lives and stuff in the meantime. So y'all be sure to check us out on Instagram and follow us for our live Q&As on Thursdays. It's at Poet Up Radio, POIT Up Radio. So yeah, check us out, follow us, and just be sure that you engage and interact with us. Today we're going to be talking about we're going to be talking about what has had, I want to say primarily, it's had everybody in an uproar, but I feel like I see more negative and hateful comments on Facebook. So I feel like I didn't even really know this was going on until I logged into my Facebook because I haven't really been on it lately. We're gonna be talking about Lia Thomas and trans women competing in athletic sports with women, with cisgender women, and the whole swimming debacle and just all of that. We're gonna dive into that a little bit. Um, so, Jay, I don't know if you had any thoughts that you wanted to share first to start us off,
But I would keep talking with you because you mentioned Facebook, and
yeah,
it's so crazy that you said Facebook first. To be honest with you, I actually deleted my Facebook, like just kind of after going back and forth with a lesbian woman about transgender women and competitive sports. Now, this individual never played competitive sports in college, never was a collegiate athlete. So of course the mentality is already different there. And on top of that, being a lesbian, which you would think that it would be more support because of our community as a whole. But of course, when you don't have that knowledge and the person is a nurse. So I guess I didn't understand like where the lack of knowledge came from. But when you don't have like the knowledge when it comes to trans individuals and hormones, but I just feel like this person is very, very transphobic in general, because one of their comments to me was to think that taking hormones and all these things make you a man or make you a woman is asinine to me, which it was crazy because you follow me on social media, on both of my social media platforms. You see that I'm a dad. Like, where's the disconnect here? But it's like, oh, it's okay for me, but it's not okay for her. It's like,
people, yeah.
Leah ain't gonna see these posts. Leah ain't gonna see these comments. We gonna see these comments. We gonna see these posts. Your friends who are transgender, we're gonna see this shit. So it's like, I didn't understand the disconnect there. But yeah, I actually ended up deactivating, or not actually deactivating, I deleted my Facebook because it was just too much controversy, and Facebook is just negative in general. So I had to chunk the deuces because it was too much for me, and I just did not have the energy to continue on. So yeah, it's been that crazy.
I feel what did she say? Like,
let me
per
see
se, that what y'all were going back and forth about.
it really wasn't a back and forth. I had made a post and I said something like, if you are my friend on here, or whatever the case may be, if you do not support, if you do not believe that trans women should be in sports, or if you do not believe that trans athletes should compete with cisgender athletes, go ahead and remove me now. So if you post any transphobic posts or anything like that, I'm gonna go ahead and remove you as a friend. And she took that amongst herself to go ahead and give her 2 cents. She said, I don't know where this is gonna land me, but, and then she just kind of like went on and on. I don't think I actually I'm looking for any screenshots that I may have taken, but I actually deleted the screenshots, I believe. But it was just like, it was too much for me. I was just like, I'm not here for it. But yeah, it was just basically when she said what she said about like, it doesn't matter like how many hormones you get somebody, whatever, that's not going to make them a man or make them a woman. That's asinine to me. And I was just like, I'm like, well, your thoughts and feelings about her and and everything, and trans women in general, it lets me know how you feel about me as a person. Like how can you really sit up here and chop it up with me, kiki, ha with me, when you don't even see me as a man? So like, then why are you following me? Like,
I
you're
guess
really
that's the part that throws me off. I guess, and I'm starting to see now. I'm just looked at as the exception on, as far as like Facebook and all. I'm the because it's kind of like, why is it okay for me, or me, you kiki and you haha with me, but then you have so much to say about transgender things, and you're clearly transphobic, and I have a lot of people like that on my Facebook, and it just, I guess for me, it just throws me off because it's like, why are you? If you don't agree with it, why are you continuing? One, why are you continuing to watch me? And two, why do you feel like do I get a pass or something? Like what am I just a magical unicorn that I don't apply to your transphobic rules? But that's not how it is, because clearly that's what I'm saying. That's not how it works. Clearly you're transphobic and I'm transgender, so therefore you're against me. In an essence, that's what it is. And it's kind of like, I just don't understand. I don't know. It's been giving me, Facebook's been giving me a lot of cognitive dissonance lately, because it's just starting to, people's true colors are really starting to show, and I'm like, damn, like I really don't want to have to like unfriend you and shit like that, but you're not you're not going along with what's for me. And that, I understand people gonna have their opinions. That's cool. I don't need everybody to agree, but you do need to be respectful. I feel like a lot of people have gotten sideways. Once they start spitting their opinion, they start getting towards disrespectful, and it's like,
yeah.
and I guess it also bothers me that people spread their opinions with no research. It's okay to not know something, but don't go around talking about it as if you do know. It's a lot of shit that I don't know that I try not to speak on, and it's a lot of shit that I've spoken on in the past that I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about, and I had to back it up and be like, well, I was incorrect. So I just feel like a lot of people don't even know hormones. They don't know how the body, they don't know how to fix the body. They have not, just like when you had Michelle on your Trans Talk Tuesday, I had no idea that estrogen breaks down the muscle mass like that. I didn't know how. I've never delved into what estrogen or testosterone blockers do for trans women in their bodies. I've only really just researched trans men. So
Trans man, that's why. So I think
exactly.
people, they feel like because it doesn't. So for me in general, like I'm the type of person, this guy who I follow, his name is Consciously, and he always says like education is elevation. And for me, I start to live my life by that motto, because it's like at the end of the day, like I've noticed that trans men are actually transphobic against trans women.
Yeah.
Like I've started to see that, especially like being on TikTok and stuff like that. So it's just like I have to educate myself if I am a part of this community. It's like being a hooper, like being a basketball player and not knowing who Kobe is,
Yeah.
or not knowing who like any of the other greats or any other like athlete is in general. But this is your competitive sport. So it's like, how you not have knowledge about the sport that you play? It makes no sense. It's like trying to be a music artist but not knowing the difference between country music, rock music, or whatever the case may be. It's like I have to educate myself, because yes, I am a trans man. Yes, these things do not apply to me. However, I do have sisters. Like I have trans women sisters out there who this shit does apply to. And anytime anybody's gonna spew any hate, I can back up. I can come back to shit they saying about me, because I'm kind of like,
you're educated.
I can show you. You're gonna see this. But when it comes to trans women, like I noticed that I didn't have as much education with it. And so that's one of the reasons why I did want to bring Michelle on, is because for one, that's her life. And so she can give me more direct answers about how it's impacted her specifically. But then I wanted to also gain the knowledge of how it actually impacts trans women, period. So I needed to know that information because I didn't know. So yeah, she really taught me a lot. Like talking to her taught me a lot. And I realized that, not to say it like this, but trans men, we have it way easier than trans women, because they always have completely different stories. But don't let me get up top with that. But yeah,
Definitely, I agree with that. Definitely. But yeah. So sorry, getting back on topic. So what we're discussing as far as discussing Lia Thomas, and what exactly happened? What, I don't even know what meet she won. She won.
I believe it was a 500 freestyle.
Yeah, I think it was 500 freestyle. So this is a transgender woman competing with cisgender women. She competed in, I think it was the 500 freestyle, and she won. And now everybody's in an uproar saying that, it's an unfair advantage and she shouldn't be competing and all of these things. And it's just not the truth. And what I will say, I used to have, like I said, I didn't know estrogen, and you're right. We need to. Sorry, it's a lot of thoughts going through my head. We do need to educate ourselves so that way we're more knowledgeable about other things, because I didn't know that the estrogen breaks down the body to that extent. So I had always been, prior to, I had always been on the fence of, I don't know whether, and I hate to say it, so I don't. It was coming from a place of ignorance. I didn't know. I was like, I don't know whether trans women can compete with cisgender women because I don't know how their bodies are matching up. I only knew from a trans man experience how our bodies bulk up and how we could definitely be a contender with a cisgender man, because that's how our bodies are operating at this point. So I didn't know, but knowing what I know now, then I feel like completely, of course they can. Now, the only thing I will say, I do agree, and I don't know if other people agree with it or not, I do agree with having that time stipulation on, you need to be on it a certain amount of time, just because I feel like you can't, you couldn't take somebody who just started testosterone a month ago and put them on a football field with cisgender. You're going to get ate the fuck up. It's not, you have to give it time for the hormone to do what it's going to do. You know what I'm saying? So the same way I feel like for trans women, you got to give it time to do what it's going to do. And then, because a trans woman who has been transitioning for some time and been on hormones, if I'm not mistaken, her body, her muscle mass is broken down to the point where she can no longer even be a contender with cisgender men. It would be that would be an unfair advantage for the cisgender men because of their testosterone levels and their muscle mass and how their bodies are operating. And I just, there's something that I didn't know. That so we it's all learning, and I like what you said, what Consciously says, and I'm glad that you put me on it because I do follow him now. That education is elevation, and that's all it is. It's just the problem is I feel like a lot of people don't want to educate themselves because it doesn't involve, it's outside of them. It doesn't, they feel like it doesn't pertain to them, that has nothing to do with them. Why am I going to look up some shit that ain't got shit to do with me? So
right. It like I was watching because Consciously actually did a little he did a video about it, about like topics and things like that, and he started to talk about how it's like it's selective what do you call it? Selective outrage. It's like you never gave a damn about women's sports. You never gave a damn about women athletes. You don't care that Brittany Griner was just in Russia because of some CBD oil cartridges that she had for her vapor or whatever the case may be. Like, you guys don't care about any of that stuff. Y'all don't care about the inadequate pay gap. Oh, well, more people watch men than they watch women because it's boring. Well, y'all watch women's basketball when they're in college. But then when they become professional, that was a whole different ball game. So it's like, you guys have selective outrage. So be upset about the stuff you need to actually be upset about, and not, it's like, well, but that's a man. Like, no, you can't sit, and that's the real issue is, honestly, I think it all goes back to, transphobia, and it also goes back to homophobia as well, because people want to see trans women as men with wigs on, or a man in like Michelle said on the live. She said people just want to look at her and say, "Oh, you just a man with a wig on."
Yeah.
It's like that's not how it works. Because when she started taking estrogen, when trans women start taking estrogen, their body mass starts to change within 3 to 6 months. I know for us it takes a little bit longer because it's building us up, but for them, since they're already where they are, it's like they start deteriorating from 3 months to 6 months. And not to say that, of course, if you're still an athlete and you're still working out, not to say that you're going to lose everything, you won't. But Lia Thomas was on hormones. She has been on hormones for 2.5 years. So think about you as a trans man. Would you stop taking your hormones to be able to do something? Hell no. I am not going to stop taking my testosterone shots just so I can do some other BS. Like, I don't care about this stuff that much. I care more about how I feel. I want you to see me as this person. Why would I stop taking my hormones just so I can have a advantage to win a meet? That's not going to serve me as a person. I'm just a person, having a trans experience, a human having a trans experience who wants to be seen exactly as who I am, and I just want to play sports.
Right.
People make it deeper than that. She just wants to swim.
Right. And my whole thing is, dang, I just lost my train of thought because it was I had a few points while you were talking. My whole thing, oh, you were saying that why would you stop taking your hormones just to participate in? The problem is people don't even know what the hormones are doing in the first place to know the difference between whether when you starting or stopping. I guess that's what frustrates me. People don't even, you don't even know. You don't, and then it's like when you deliver something that's contradictory to their stance, then all of a sudden they have all these other excuses and all. It's just like somebody had, because I was on Facebook and somebody had, um, it was on one of my homegirls' posts, and she was sticking up for us. And then, some cisgender guys had got off in there, and she had rebutted back with, "Well, what about it's some trans boxer? I think he had recently won something."
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So she was like, "So what about this? Y'all are saying that trans people can't compete uh with cisgender people. So what about this?" And I forgot what his response or what his rebuttal is, but she was like, "Y'all are deflecting. Like, you don't, like, I'm sitting here giving you evidence against the contrary, and you just don't want to." People are they're so quick to just stick to their guns and stick to their opinion even when it's wrong. It's like, it's okay to be, and I'll admit I can be like that too. I hate being wrong. Hate it with a passion. But I can't always be right. I don't know fucking everything. So if somebody's giving me something that is contradictory to what I have to be like, well, damn, maybe I need to rethink what the fuck I originally thought. You know what I'm saying? But people are not willing to rethink what they claim that they know, because really you don't know shit.
It's an ego thing. Like, a lot of people walk around with their ego, and they walk around on guard, just so ready to prove everybody wrong. But it's like, the issue is, this is why a lot of y'all don't make it when it comes to being athletes, is because you're not coachable. You're not teachable. You want to do things the way you want to do it. You don't want to conform to the system, which is okay. You can still maintain your level of individuality, but you also have to learn how to work cohesively in a team. A lot of people don't want to do that. A lot of people, they try to not do that, or they try to like kind of bug it a little bit, but still do what the fuck they want to do. It's like, no, if you actually want to expand your mind, expand your knowledge, you have to educate yourself. And a lot of people are not willing to do that because they want to be quote unquote stuck in their ways and wonder why they're single at 60 years old and you can't get nobody. And now you say, I want to settle down. You chasing these young girls. That's because my dude, my lady, remain teachable and coachable, like compromise, like all this, like the way that people approach things like this, like politics in general, to me, that shows me what type of partner they are, right? Because for me, like if my wife tells me something, I'm like, well, this is not how I've always known it. And then she brings facts to me. I'm like, damn, you know what, boo, I never thought about it like that. And then from there, I didn't change like the way I view it, or I do my research as well. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I looked it up too bad. You right. Like, da. But if she brought something to me and I'm constantly combative, you think that relationship is gonna work? No, you don't need my confrontational ass. And so that really shows me how people are in the relationships that they are in, just how they respond to things like politics. Like,
that's a good point. And not even just romantic relationships. That's just if you're just not coachable all the way, in one area, you're not coachable all the way around. Like, and I'm sure you can be very, that's a good point though. And a lot of, but that, that could be a whole nother tangent on what's wrong with a lot of people. But that's one of them. You're right. They're not coachable, they're not teachable, they don't want to learn. And it just, I'm with you. I will not deactivate my Facebook, just because I do keep up with a lot of family members through there, and that's like one of the main channels. But I have definitely stepped away from it. It's just it's gotten to be a lot, and it really shows me, like you said, it shows me what you think about me. And lately, I just been going through, and I'll just pop up on somebody's post. Thank you for letting me know what you feel about me, and then I'll go ahead and I'll unfollow or block them or whatever, and go on about my business. But
I ain't holding on to it. Like, I'm at the point in my life right now. I'm 32 years old. I'm a dad of 3 young ladies, 16, well, about to be 16, and fucking 7-week-olds, like girls. Like, I'm a whole dad of young girls, and I want my daughters to know that for one, like trans people are people. They're regular ass people for one. We all have the same human experience. We just experiencing just a little bit different than you. And then for two, I want you to see a trans woman and not be like, oh well, you are a man. Like no, like I want you to be like, okay, this person's taking hormones and this is how they appear in the world. This is them. You know, like people just have to stop pushing their views and their emotions about things on other people, and that's kind of what it is, and that's why a lot of people feel like are reacting the way they're reacting to Lia is because, you know, they don't want to see her as a woman. They want like, well, biologically, but it's like I said on the live, if I was to give you, say, hey, locate my DNA, they'd be like, okay, well, what would you do to locate my DNA? Well, I'll look at you. No, you can't look at me because this right here is how I appear in the world. Like I appear as this person, or I appear as a man, or I appear as a woman. Like locate my DNA. I want you to tell me like biologically that I'm a woman. Oh, well, I can tell by your sex characteristics. I take hormones now. I'm starting to look different. Tell me something else.
So how
So you can get people's DNA by different ways, right? Most of it requires software. You know, like you get your thumbprints. You know, you can locate who somebody is that way, or but that's not really locating DNA. But you know, that's you can get who somebody is by the thumbprint, or you can take some saliva. It's like getting a paternity test. You take their saliva. Most times people don't even know like what they do for paternity tests. Like how they even can tell. They take your saliva. They look at the they basically put it under microscopes and they look and they basically look under different types of microscopes in order to locate these things. But and the thing about it is they're not just letters, X's and Y's, they're actually markers on your genetics. So they're markers on your double helix DNA in order for you to be able to match up to say, hey, this person is their mom, or hey, this person is their dad. Like it's people don't understand how that shit actually works. And it's like you guys have a second grade level understanding of biology of science, and now you guys think that y'all are like fucking professional giving a
right.
and shit. Like, no, you're not. Like, you don't know anything. Like, it's okay to say, hey, you know what, I'm ignorant. I don't understand how in the hell can this person even compete? Because you're looking at the outside frame. When you see, and I hate saying stuff like this right here because it's not fair, because I don't want to generalize it, but most times when people want to point out a trans woman because they're easier to spot, because for one, they have more masculine features. Some of them, not all. Some trans women have masculine features. Some trans women are taller. Some trans women have different body frames. You know, that quote unquote gives it away that they were assigned male at birth. You know, it just is what it is. Genetics is what it is. And it's like it's random. Some people get lucky. Some women get lucky and they have smaller frames or they have whatever. And some guys get lucky where they have larger frames, and that way it's easier for them to pass when they start taking hormones. But people will see these people who they will see individuals or trans women who have more masculine features, who have a larger body frame, and say, hey, you were assigned male at birth and you have a biological advantage. Well, it's like, well, nigga, Candace Parker got a biological advantage. The bitch is 6'6", 6'4".
Yeah. The wingspan
y'all was just bragging about shit.
The wingspan of
Y'all was bragging about her 6'8", 6'9" wingspan.
Yeah.
But Lia, you can't brag about her 6'1" wingspan because biologically, that you don't even understand biologically, she was assigned male at birth, so it's unfair. How is that unfair? Like y'all have selective outrage. Tell me, how is it unfair? How is it? What is the average wingspan for anybody? It doesn't matter. Michael Phelps, nigga got web hand, web feet.
Yeah, web feet. Yeah, that nigga got advantage for real.
But well, he was assigned male at birth, so it's okay. Like, no, you can't always be like, well, he was assigned male at birth, so that's okay. Or, oh, you a tall ass woman, that's not okay. Like, you can't. People have to stop putting people in these binary boxes, and that's the issue. People binary thinking on gender is what is really causing a lot of these issues and confrontation, because they don't have the knowledge. They're just looking with their eyes. They don't know what hormones do. So
they don't. Because I didn't know that estrogen can it makes the shoulders less broad. Like it really breaks.
What you think about a woman, think about a man. So right. So when you see like, okay, bone density, what the fuck? That it don't mean anything. Bone density don't mean shit. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that's just like the appearance of their bones. Are you an X-ray machine? Answer to that is no, you're not. Okay, cool. So the next thing you look at is muscle mass, right? So anytime, so for example, if you look at me preteen, look at me now. You look at my body fat, right? I don't look as fluffy. And that's because, when you have more estrogen in your system, your body holds on to fat differently. So that's why when you see trans women who have been on hormones for like a year or two, you'll start seeing their faces starting to round out. You'll start to see them starting to look a little bit more soft. You'll see like their arms and stuff, they're not so toned. It's because your body is holding on to fat differently. Like now, even me doing the exact same workouts I have been doing for years, and you're looking at me now, you're like, damn, your arms are getting bigger. That's because now my body fat is redistributing differently. Like the fat that was on my arms and shit like that, it's gone now. Like it moved to different places. It's starting to break down and metabolize differently. So I don't have those same, that same body anymore. So I think that people just don't. But I think they just need to understand, what it actually does. Like your body is going to change. Like they be like, oh, your body's going to change. I don't get it. Well, no, their voices are not going to change, because once your vocal cords are what they are.
Yeah, what they are what they are.
No reverting. Now there may be some surgeries some voice feminization surgery that you can do, but even still, you're still going to have that. You can go get your face. You can get certain bones shaved. You can get all these different cosmetic things done. You can try to work on the nose. You can do these things. Get you some boobs. Even though estrogen is going to help you grow boobs, but you may want to get fillers where you have more perky boobs. Like I just think that people just need to understand how hormones work in general. Like past 6th grade, after they showed you the birth video and stuff, and then like the whole sex video, and then somebody gets pregnant, and then they show you birth.
Honestly,
past that,
I feel like they need to have, and this is a pipe dream because I don't think it would, at least not in this lifetime. I feel like they need to have trans education in schools, just like whenever you teach in biology, teach what hormones can do to, you know what I'm saying, to the you said that they will. I feel like eventually, but not now. But
it's like now the twins, like they may have different education than what we like. I think I don't even know what the education system looks like now. Since I graduated back in 2008, so it's like I don't remember none of that shit. And so it's like maybe what they're learning now is different than what we learned back then, because we didn't really learn anything. Like no,
we didn't, and they trying to make it to where we not learning even more. They just trying to continue to keep it the patriarchal, Eurocentric, white-centered. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to keep it that way. So they're not trying to bring in no diversity and none of that. So especially with what and this is off the topic, Greg Abbott trying to do with reporting trans kids and their parents and all that. So we're not even in the space. But I feel like people just need to be educated, like you said, because hell, I'm sitting here learning shit that I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? And the more you know, the more you grow. But I guess my question is, how do you? Because I read something one time that I didn't even notice that some men, and I'm talking about cisgender people. Some cisgender men have XX chromosome, and some cisgender women have XY chromosome. We can't even always go according to the chromosome. I forgot what article was and how it.
It's about intersex people as well. Like intersex people exist. That that it used to be a very derogatory term, like hermaphrodites, things like that. When you're born with, sometimes it does show up as being born with both genitalia. Sometimes it shows up as individuals who have certain abnormalities where they're not able to where they're born without a uterus, where they're born without, where they're born like with micro penises and things like that. It's like people don't understand like different types of people do exist. Like just the stuff that you see or the people that you encounter every single day, like, or that you think is the norm, like that's not really the norm. Like the norm is there are different types of people. Like, and I think everybody just need to understand that there are different types of people in this world, and you just need to be aware of who they are. And
not just on the spectrum.
Yeah.
And it does. And okay, my bad. I'm writing stuff down as I go, because I'll be forgetting my thoughts. You had mentioned something on the live though, and I can't remember. So is it a way to determine if I would, let's say I would have died today and they dig me up 1,000 years from now, by them taking my DNA and my bones, are they then going to be able to tell whether I was male or female biologically?
I don't know if it's by bone. It could be by like bone structure or like how your body already grew. I don't know. I ain't gonna cap. Like, I don't think so. Possibly, because I know they do. I know they do carbon dating where they can tell how long ago you were alive. But possibly, I can look that up and see if they can do that. Yeah, I'm sure that it's not far fetched to feel like or to know that they can do that.
Yeah. I was just wondering, because I guess I just really want to know what are the fundamental. To me, in my mind, I feel like the biggest fundamental difference between men and women is the hormones. Because even when I was in college and I was learning about, how fetuses are developed and shit like that, I didn't realize that basically we all start out the same, and just depending on the amount of testosterone that you're getting, it depends on whether you develop a penis or not.
Or your coochie fall out.
Yeah, or yeah, you know what I'm saying? But it's all just dependent on the hormones in your body. This was fueling the growth. It's just like even in going back to how we get like bottom growth and stuff down there. It's like it's because of the hormones. Like hormones is really to me. It's all based off the hormone level, and I feel like somebody else was also on Facebook, or I feel like a lot of Black people have tried to. And I'm all for Black rights, and I'm all for a lot of majority of stuff. Majority of the time when people say it's not about race, or what, majority of the time it is. But I feel like in this certain instance, because people are trying to compare Castor's, what's her last name? Simone Castor. They're trying to compare because they're not letting her run because of her testosterone levels. And so, somebody in the Facebook comments was trying to make it about race. Well, what about this? And they're not letting, and I'm like, that ain't got nothing. They're not doing that because she's Black. They're doing it because of her testosterone. Y'all not understanding how testosterone levels work and how they affect the body and how much of an advantage that testosterone could provide to a cisgendered woman. They're not going off of that. She could be a white woman, and if your testosterone levels are too high, they're going to tell you. No, you know what I'm saying? Like they're trying. I was like, this isn't about race. You trying to throw in race when we talking?
That's called deflection.
Yeah, that's what. But what about this? No, that's not what we talk. Race is a subject, yes, but that's not what we're talking about right now, and that ain't got nothing to do with what this is right here.
So if it was a black trans woman who was swimming, the conversation didn't change.
No, they still find something else to be. Yeah.
I just want to know, because I mean, then that way it can't be about race.
You're right. I should have posed that question. So if it was a Black trans woman, would this be different? You still have the same? No, and that's what I'm talking about. When people are presented with contradictory evidence to their beliefs, they deflect or they give other things that ain't got. That's irrelevant. We're not talking about that right now. Exactly. That's not what they got to do with anything.
I'm trying to understand what you're saying. Got anything to do with anything like that? I'm just saying, like people.
I'm trying to understand.
Wow.
And also another thing that evidence that was given to people is the fact that this is like the first meet that she's won. She been losing to cisgender women. So I'm like, what is y'all's argument here?
Not the first trans woman is to even be in NCAA swimming competition. Like even in the Olympics, there was a trans woman in the Olympics who didn't even place. So it's like people have selective outrage. It's like, what? Okay, so yeah, you won't even, soon as. No, let me rewind and say this right here. You guys are upset because she won, right? She won by like 0.8 of a second, right? You guys are pissed off. Now, the trans woman who did compete in the Olympics, I can't remember what race it was, but I know she competed in the Olympics. I don't know if it was a throw or whatever it was, something for track. Didn't place. Now, if they had even made an article about her being, congratulations to this person being the first trans woman to ever compete, even though she didn't place, she competed. I guarantee people like, well, dang, like how you gonna be a trans woman and go from going against men to going against women and still losing?
Yeah.
It's like you can't win.
You can't win. So do you want me to lose? What you want me to do? Because excuse me, when somebody had made that point, I was like, damn, that is a good point. this I was about to say this bitch. Y'all know that's just my worst. This is not no disrespect to any women, but I was about to say this girl been losing. So what the fuck?
Exactly. But it's only an outrage whenever she wins. So it's okay for her to lose.
That one win. Yeah, it's okay for her to lose however many times. But that one time she wins, it's an unfair advantage.
Yes, a biological advantage. That's how she won.
That's how she won.
Against her and I had lost and got second place, I'd be pissed off. No, you would not, because most likely athletes, we don't think like that. Like athletes don't be like, damn,
I just lost against this trans woman.
I just lost. Like, yes, unfair advantage. I want my number one title. I want number one place. No, I want to beat this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, excuse me, like, I want to beat this chick. Like that. Like, period. I want to beat her.
Right. And that's what when you are thinking like an athlete, you're not thinking about none of that. You just trying to, because even when I did play, whoever I'm going against, with man, female, whatever, I'm just trying to win. I don't give a fuck how I do it, but I want to win.
Exactly.
That's all I'm thinking. I ain't thinking about who the opponent is. It's about how I'm gonna win, how I'm gonna beat them, at whoever it is.
What about the argument like, oh, well, we might as well just integrate all sports then. Just have, instead of having men's and women's sports, just have co-ed sports all over across the board. Like, I'm just like, you guys are just, now y'all just doing the most. At the end of the day, her hormone level shows that she's a woman, and his hormone level is showing that he's a man. That is the sport in which they compete. Let it go.
And that's it. That's it.
Just let it go. Like it's a wasted argument. Like, let it go. You guys are not even gonna watch it then.
That's my thing. You're not gonna watch it. Half of these people didn't play collegiate sport, and I didn't either. So let me not. I'm not saying I did, but half of these people weren't athletes them damn selves. Half of these people they talking about, oh, I wouldn't want my kids. Half of y'all kids ain't gonna be that good at sports either. So to get in collegiate sports, or to get to the Olympics. So I'm trying to understand.
Where's your outrage? Like, why do you have outrage? Your kids are gonna grow up not even being professional athletes and be like, dang, back then I could have won first place with that trans girl never.
Right.
They're not gonna think like that. Shut your mouth.
That's not.
Your ego hurt. You just mad because you wanted your daughter to feel some type of way about winning. Like, just call it that. You don't have to be transphobic. It's okay. Like, it's okay.
And that's what it is. And it's all rooted in, I don't know if you had said this or I heard it from somebody, but basically it's all rooted in the fact of it is selective outrage, and they're picking and choosing what to be mad about. But you're just mad. You're just transphobic. That's what it is. Yeah. At the end of the day, you don't see this person as a woman, and that's what it boils down to. Yep. And so you feel like this person is in the wrong place, and they should be competing with men because that's how you see this person. You don't even respect them as a trans person.
But then I think about like this right here. Like, I have to say this shit. So this guy who I follow, I cannot remember his name. I know his IG handle is Pink Mantray, something like that. PinkMantary. He was a Division I athlete. He's a trans man. He was a Division I swimmer, right? Mm-hmm. And so he has devoted his platform to talking about trans athletes in sports. And he made a point, and I was just like, this makes so much sense. It says, lastly, you are not worried about a cis man. They said, lastly, if you are worried about a cis man pretending to be a woman in order to compete and win in women's sports, recognize that you are afraid of cis men, not trans women. Lastly, if you are worried about a cis man pretending to be a woman in order to compete and win in women's sports, recognize that you are afraid of cis men, not trans women.
Right.
That's the issue. You guys are afraid of men. It all goes back to that. Like, the fear is that. Well, my thing is this: as a man, what type of bragging rights are you going to get?
If I were to dress up and just go and compete with women to win against.
It was funny when Joanna Man did it because
he
wasn't taking hormones, but it was funny when he did it. But when somebody is actually like,
trying to do that, like,
but in a woman, and you guys are pissed off, like,
where's
the bragging rights? Who is she gonna brag to?
Exactly. Well, I'm a cisgender man. I want a bunch of whole women, a bunch of women.
I was all on them girls, man. I was tearing that
Yeah, I
out.
was shitting on them. I was doing a backstroke, front stroke, all that shit.
Nobody give up. Nobody want to hear that. Man, that's the silliest shit I've ever heard in my whole life. Like, where are your bragging rights? Who you gonna brag to?
Nobody.
Exactly. So it's
Who
not about that.
it's not about, and people just don't understand. People just don't understand. That's the moral of the story. People are uneducated. They don't understand. They don't take the time to even understand trans people and just how we think or how we feel. Because, like you said, like who the fuck? Nobody's transitioning just to compete in the sport.
No,
That's not
you think I'm about to transition just to try to go to the NBA?
right. Like hell no.
Go try to play professional basketball. So I'm transitioning because that's who I am and I want to appear that way in the world. Now, if I so happen to be hooping and shit, and then you know what I'm saying, and make it that way, then it is what it is. But that's not my main goal is to transition so I can do that like that.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. Like it that's not my motivation for
It makes no sense.
What? Your motivation is to go to the NBA. That's why you transition it.
No.
It's not how it works. Like,
and yeah. So this is just all just rooted in transphobia and homophobia and just diversity of culture. People just don't. We want to stick to people want to stick to what's comfortable. I think this new world is making a lot of people very uncomfortable. And
why? What you know what I'm saying? Like my thing is why. I don't understand why because I mean I put this on my story earlier. It was just like y'all be so homophobic, but be creating y'all dream in on 2K. So you mean to tell me homophobic as hell or to be transphobic as fuck against her, but you still over there creating your dream light skinned basketball player,
right?
With a kiss mark on his neck and tattoos, and you look like me. Why are you creating that type of player?
Because that's what they want to be. That's what a lot of I think it's a thing, and this is a little topic. I think it's a thing that some cisgender men are jealous. I feel like they part of them be jealous, and not like I said, not all. I feel like
not all, but some.
I feel like it do be some. I feel like they got some insecurities within themselves, and I think it eats up at them, especially with the fact of somebody who is transitioning from a woman to a man. Is kind of like, damn, like they transition in looking better than or what I would want to look like or whatever. So that's another topic though. I feel like
I can make a comment about that because with both myself and Joy building our Instagrams and stuff like that. Like there have been plenty of men to be like, oh, we need to come get you, come and get what they
real man. Oh,
or like I'm just like you. What you talking about? Because I don't have sperm to give her. Like, is that what the whole argument gonna be like?
So that's another question. What is a man and what is a woman? What is the determining factor? The fact that you can produce sperm or not? Did you know that cisgender women actually have sperm in our bone marrow and bone marrow?
That's you too educated right now. They don't understand that.
You're right. Well, for anybody, people who are born women, whether you're cisgender or you're trans man, whatever, people who are born women, you have sperm in your bone marrow. Now, they do say that you really shouldn't use that sperm because it might be a higher chance of like birth defects. I don't know. And plus, people haven't really tried it like that, so maybe it's just an unknown thing. But we do carry sperm. So and you said what?
I said, yeah, I knew that.
But which goes back to my argument though. So what is the determining factor? What makes a man and what makes a woman? Like what are people basing it off of? Besides, because you can't even use anatomy, because you can get the anatomy, you can get everything of the opposite sex. So what's the determining factor?
The determining factor is whatever you were assigned at birth. That's what a lot of people want to go back to. Whatever you were assigned. Like that's and to me that's a very narrow view of the world in general. It's like it's not a good determining factor because I may look different now. Now you mean to tell me like, okay, well you were assigned female at birth, and I look like a whole nigga. Like I got a whole mustache, like I got muscles and shit, and shit like that. Like you gonna tell me I'm not a real man? Why? Because you assume that I have a micro penis. Well, I don't. I actually had surgery. So, and that's not it's your business, but it's like, okay, now you know what's in my drawers. You happy? But you still don't have sperm to give her. So is the determining factor the fact that I do not have these androgens or this spermatozoa in order to get my spouse. What if we don't want kids? Now what? Like, so now you're telling her she needs to get with a real man. What is the difference between you and I? Because I'm better overall. I'm well-rounded. I'm a lot more grounded than you are. I'm emotionally intelligent. I'm physically fit. I look good as fuck. What can you contribute to my wife that I'm not contributing to her already? The fact that you have spermatozoa that could possibly one day get her pregnant if she ever so wants to, that makes no sense to me. So you really telling me that you ain't got shit?
Right, you really ain't got shit else to offer but
It's not.
sperm. Is that what you're telling me?
Exactly. If that's the
That's what you're
determination.
telling me.
What about the guys who are born without sperm? What about
Right,
the
who
guys
can't?
no swimmers and no swimmers? What about the
Yeah.
guys who have vasectomy? Who can't even who shoot in blanks? Like, what about these guys? So you mean to tell me that these other guys who are assigned male at birth, who do not have sperm to give, that they aren't men? Because they were assigned male at birth, it's okay that they don't have sperm. So you guys need to pick it. Like pick with it. Like,
yeah.
you guys aren't educated enough to have this discussion with me. So of course you're gonna go back to, you don't have a dick, or you don't have this. Like, okay, I have all these things. Now what?
Right. Exactly. So now what?
Now what? Oh,
exactly.
Well, you're never gonna fully transition your DNA biologically XXXY. Like, you don't even know if that is my genetic makeup. How do you?
That's what I'm saying. When I found out what
exactly
all that shit, I was like, well, damn. Like, really, anybody could have an XX or XY. So really, you can't even go off.
Because
that's not even different.
A lot of people don't have just regular XX or XY.
Right.
Sometimes you do get people who have like additional X's or additional Y's or whatever the case may be. Some people may be XYY. Some may be XXX or XX. You know, like, you guys don't know. So stop talking about stuff you don't have any knowledge on.
Exactly. You just know basic, like you said, you know basic elementary or grade school level. Yeah. You know that. What'd you say?
You guys are dumb.
That's and that's
come at me, bro. Come at me.
Come at me. I would encourage anybody to come at you, because you really do be having the facts, and especially with you being a biologist, because you do know more than the average. Like I said, people just get grade school level, just like we're taught in school. Women have XX, men have XY, and it's like it's deeper than that.
You start taking more than biology 101, and you stop talking about cytoplasm and cells and shit. And when you actually dive into what is it called? When you dive into like etymology, you dive into more things on top of biology, like all these different courses where you're actually learning things to like the core, actually breaking it down. Because what regular biology does, it gives you like a general overview, like, hey,
this is the introductory. This is the general.
Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Like, okay, well, what cells are you looking at? Are you looking at skin cells? Are you looking at the cells within my body that breaks down fat? Are you looking at the cells in which my body that repairs when I tear down my muscle and produces lactic acid? Are you referring to the cells within my gut? Like, what cells are you talking about? You guys don't know. You guys don't know.
And that's it's different. So do each one of those cells have mitochondria? Now I'm confused. See, it's a whole bunch of shit.
So it's a lot to learn, man. Because and the reason why I say that is because it's not just about the cells themselves. It's also about what's attached to those cells, what's not attached to those cells. The receptors is also attached, like what can be attached to it, what cannot be attached to it. It's also about the different muscles, like the cells that are inner working. Are these voluntary muscles? Are these involuntary muscles? Like, what are you looking at? Your eyeball? Are you looking at the rods and cones and how they move and the cells within those things? It's like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. Like, everything breaks down, like to the main point of being an atom. Like, you guys don't know. So stop being stupid and just say, hey, you know that I appreciate you sharing that knowledge with me, but how I feel is how I feel. I'm going to be transphobic, and just move on.
Yeah, that's what they need to say. Yeah. That's what it comes down to. It's like, if you're gonna educate yourself, educate it, but if you're not gonna take the opinion, just stay in your transphobia, but understand that it is transphobia. I guess it gets on my nerves when people, because I've also heard y'all just because we don't agree with y'all's opinion, we just paint it as transphobic, or we just no, because everybody has their own opinions, but you do have to understand that the inner workings of your thoughts are transphobic. It's
If
it is what it is. Like just because you don't like that, and again, it's not a difference of opinion because you can have your own opinion, but you do have to understand that certain ways that you think that they're just it's just like certain things. It's like my fiance has told me I have narcissistic tendencies. So there are certain things that the way that I think that can be narcissistic. Now I didn't like that. I don't like when she says that. I don't, in but it is what it is. I have to realize and acknowledge that those thought process fall into a narcissistic category. So people have to realize and acknowledge that your thought process fall into a transphobic category. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? You can feel however you feel, but just understand that what you're feeling
yeah,
is transphobic.
it's like if your decision making or whatever is based upon somebody like what do you call it? It's like if it's if this is going to be the whole thing, if this right here is going to be what it is, if somebody's excluded because of this reason, then it makes it transphobic. It's like, well, trans women are women. These are women. But if you were assigned male at birth, then you have an unfair advantage and you can no longer be considered a woman. It's like, well, that's exclusionary. So you can't say that trans women are women if you don't want a trans woman to play sports. Like how you don't want her to play in the sports in which she is now assigned. Like she is a woman. Like if you're saying that she's a woman, allow her to play women's sports. Like what's the issue? And then it's like, oh well, you have an unfair biological advantage. Nigga, so does Lisa Leslie. So does Shaq.
Yeah.
So does Michael Jordan. So does LaMelo Ball. Like so does all these crazy Dwight Howard. Like all these people have these biological advantages, but because they play for the men's team, it's not considered a bad thing. But anytime you play for a women's team, like now it's well because you're a man. Like well, that person was not a man. Okay, let's say that. Let's say that person was assigned male at birth, but that's
They're not a
still
man now. Their
it's not.
body isn't even. Yeah, yeah, and you're right. Talking, going back to what you just said, like with Shaq and all them, they having biological advantages. Yeah, you can say that, but at the end of the day, also, what are we going off of? Hormone levels. Their hormone levels are within the right ranges. So whatever other biological, physical advantages they have, those are just advantages that they get to play, that they're blessed to play with. But at the end of the day,
they get the right they get the right roll of the dice. It is what it
right,
is.
you get the right roll of the dice. But at the end of the day, we're going off of your hormone levels, because if their testosterone levels were not as high, they wouldn't have the muscle mass that they had. They wouldn't have I feel like, as big a build as they have, or just certain things. Certain things would be different. So that is the gist of the message I just want to send, that hormones do actually transform when I say transform, I mean they really do transform your body into something that is different. You're transitioning into the opposite sex. This isn't just throwing on a wig and saying, call me this or call me that. Your body is actually changing, and people have to realize that. People just need to do their due diligence, do their education, do the research. If you're gonna have an opinion on something, make it an educated one. That's all I'm gonna say. If you're gonna have an opinion, make it an educated one. And nobody said that you have to agree. I don't need everybody's not gonna agree with me in my life. That's fine. But if you're gonna talk about something, know what you're talking about. Because a lot of these people out here are just talking and they don't know what they're talking about. That's the problem. Just get you some information and then formulate an opinion off of actual evidence, not what you feel or what you think, because they don't know. They have no idea. You've never even Googled what hormones do to the body. Don't even know.
At all.
So, and that's the frustrating part. So just educate yourself. That's all I'm gonna say. Um, but I guess we can go ahead and we can wrap this one up. So, like I said, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in to this season, for giving us the opportunity to talk and just listening. And we appreciate you all, and we will be back next season, so you guys just be on the lookout. Be sure to go ahead and follow the Instagram page at Poet Up Radio. Go ahead and follow the YouTube as well. Poet Up Radio, PO' Up Radio on YouTube as well as Facebook. And just be on the lookout for new announcements, new things going, and we will see you guys later.
Hey, mommy, that sounds like